All right, Shalom, Jacob. We're back in it again. Sorry about that. It's part two. We're talking about Atlantis, aka Babylon. Here we go. Philosophically, the 10 islands symbolize, because they say Atlantis had 10 islands. 10 islands symbolize the triune powers of the superior deity and the seven regents who bow before his eternal throne. So he's giving you these same numbers that you find in Daniel about the beast, in Daniel 7 with the 10. These guys use the same thing. They know our stuff, and they take it and they rob it, they twist it, they pervert it, and they put it to their own things. But that's part of it. So you'll find some similarities like that. So it says both the sinking of Atlantis and the biblical story of the fall of man signify the spiritual involution, a prerequisite to conscious evolution. So here he tries to spin it off with some philosophical stuff, but that's a bunch of nonsense. So here he equates it right here. He throws you a little hint. He says the sinking of Atlantis uh, um, and the biblical story of the fall of man. It says, check it out. Either the initiated Plato, so right there he tells you Plato was initiated. He was initiated into these mystery schools, right? So he was a Mason basically. Use the Atlantis allegory to achieve two widely different ends, or else the accounts preserved by the Egyptian priests were tampered with to perpetuate the secret doctrine. So they have two accounts there because it's they found it written over here. The Egyptian priests had the story of Atlantis written down in 300 BC around with Plato. So there's two different versions running around. So one of them had to be tampered with. They're thinking that the one from Egypt had to be tampered with. But anyways, this has to do because Atlantis is also symbolic of what happened before the flood. Because remember, Cain was wicked. Cain was doing all these horrible things, and his descendants were the first ones to sorry, Israel, bad allergies today. But his descendants were the ones that started doing metal work, started making weapons, started making cities, doing all kinds of stuff. It got destroyed. It got wiped out with the flood. Then it came back, and right after the flood, they went right back to their nonsense with Nimrod and Babylon. And then the languages got confounded. They went away again, and now they're coming back a third time with this beast, America, Rome, Israel, the last empire, the Edomite empires, which is like I said, even Atlantis, the 10 horns and the 7 regions, the 10 islands, 7 regions. They're just bringing it back, combining all the languages, symbolism, their universal language, as we saw in the previous videos. So it's just the same thing. It's just going around again. Also, and another thing, he says that Egypt perpetuated the secret doctrine. So why doesn't Shaka Amos and all these Egyptologist guys, the Haas consciousness guys, ever talk about the secret doctrine of Egypt? They know so much about Egypt, and it's the way we should go. We should just drop the Bible, and we should just drop everything and just become Nile Valley culture guys, huh? Well, how come you guys don't ever talk about the secret doctrines? Do you not know? See, these are questions that need to be answered. But here's another little part. This is kind of interesting too. It says the city of the Golden Gates, the capital of Atlantis, is the one now preserved among numerous religions as the city of the gods, or the holy city. Here is the archetype of the New Jerusalem, with its streets paved with gold and its 12 gates shining with precious stones. So see, even shows you right here that the New Testament with its New Jerusalem talked about in Revelations, coming down from the sky out of heaven and all this nonsense. See, yeah, our people are going to go back to Jerusalem. We are going to rebuild a new temple. We will reinstitute the Levitical sacrifices. We will have our prince doing sacrifices as well. And we will have our city with its 12 gates, but it's not this crazy city coming out of the sky paved with gold, translucent, all this crazy Wizard of Oz nonsense. You know what I mean? This is crazy, man. It's the same thing that came the Golden Gates, the city of the Golden Gates comes from Atlantis, comes from ancient Babylon. It's the city of the gods, the holy city, the archetype of New Jerusalem. This is what these guys are waiting for. The 1,000 years of so-called Christ's reign is just the 1,000 years of the golden age, the golden period. What all these mystery schools and all these New Ager guys are always talking about, man. This golden period. Even Hitler was talking about this golden period. That's what the Third Reich was, right? Everybody's always coming down on Hitler all hard and always bashing on that guy. Well, that's what he was talking about too. He was just an initiate of the mystery schools. He was the same thing. He was a Rothschild, man. He was an Amalekite too. He was controlled as well until he decided to get all freaky. It's just a big old mess, man. But either way, it's just here we go. Let's get some more. The Atlantean sun worship, so see, that's just showing you ancient Babylon was all sun worship, has been perpetuated in the ritualism and ceremonialism of both Christianity and pagandom. So this is why, see, they're the same, Christianity and pagandom. This is why the pagans laugh at Christians, man. The pagans laugh at Christians. They're the same thing. They just laugh at them. They do the same rituals. They do the same holidays. They just call it something different, man. You know what I mean? They just call it what the witches call Christmas Yule. Christians just call it Christmas. It's the same thing, man. They don't even tell you about the original, about Krampus. There used to be this dude rolling around with Santa named Krampus, man. I have that on my poster board. I got some poster boards I go and teach people with. Look it up, man. They totally mixed it all up, mashed it all up. They Disney-fied it for the American people because everyone here is the dumbest people here. Dumbest people around, and so that's what we got. But see, check this out. It says both the cross and the serpent were Atlantean emblems. So right there, Babylonian, because like I said, Atlantean's Babylonian. So they're the cross and the serpent are Babylonian, because we know the cross comes from Tammuz. We know the cross comes originally from Tammuz, from his name, because he's the original sun god. He is Osiris and Horus. Before it was Osiris and Horus, or God and Jesus, it was Nimrod and Tammuz. And the serpent as well. They're all symbols of the sun. It's all sun worship. It's all penis worship, man. That's all these guys are. Look at that. It says the emblem of divine wisdom. The divine Atlantean or Babylonian progenitors of the Mayas and Quiches of Central America. So then it talks about Central America because our people went off. When we came here to try to worship the laws of the Most High. We have a bunch of evidence that we still had our language. We still followed somewhat laws. I live in New Mexico over here in Los Lunas. And over here we have a stone. Not only is it a stone, but it's a whole temple complex. I actually have an article from the News Bulletin, the newspaper out here, the Albuquerque Journal, talking about it. It's the Ten Commandments written in Paleo Hebrew. In fact, let's see. I might even have it on me. I just have some pictures of some books because I can't always afford to have all the books. So I printed out some pictures. Oh, here we go. Welcome to VC, Mystifying Mystery Stone. Inscription of the Los Lunas Mystery Stone. Phoenician letters included. Paleo-Hebraic script. Phoenician and Paleo-Hebrew are the same. It's Canaanite. Phoenicians were the Canaanites. It's the same language. See, Los Lunas, New Mexico, Highway 6. But see, not only was it the Ten Commandments, but it's actually the Ten Commandments are in front of a temple, in front of a mountain. And if you go up on top of that mountain, we had a whole complex up there, man. We had our place for our tents, our teepees, our booths. We had a place for our military. We had inscriptions of the Most High's name up there. Everything, man. It's all decked out. So at first we were doing good, but then we started falling off back into that Baal worship, started doing all kinds of nonsense, started worshiping things, and that's why the Most High sent the Amalekites, the so-called conquistadores, the conquerors, over here to put his foot in our ass. And I'm going to talk about that later. I got some good stuff on that. But anyways, let's see. So H.P. Blavatsky also talks about this. Brother Judah Naz brought out some of her stuff talking about that. They know that everything originated with Samaria and Acadia. So yeah, hold on, Israel. I gotta open up